I'm a Feng Shui master. I've been based in Dubai for the last 30 years, practicing Feng Shui for the last 25 years, and I own a company called Elements Feng Shui, which has been in operation since 2001. So Feng Shui is what I do from morning till evening and every day of my life. So it's a pleasure to have such a lovely crowd here, huge crowd. We had a little talk yesterday at the Dubai Mall as well, and that was very nice. So I'm going to quickly request a few of you to just give me a brief as to what's your experience with Feng Shui, or what is your knowledge about it, so I can sort of take this class forward. Feng Shui is a very technical science, and I don't want to go into the technicality of how we do it and what we do. But I've done a little bit of a display here. I've played around with color and things just to give you, I'm going to talk about it, to tell you how to work with different aspects, different textures, colors, how we sort of align energy. If you notice, the classroom has been placed in a curve, which is doesn't give you that classroom effect, because then you're being taught something and you don't want to be taught anything, because you are infinite beings and you already know what you know, and you want to know it on your own, because life is an experience and you want to experience it for yourself. You don't want to be told what to do. So give me a quick, do you have any insight into experience with Feng Shui, or?
Not much actually. I know it's good. It brings in good energy.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I used to be very into it.
Okay.
I don't know the technicalities of it, but I've read up a lot of it. I remember the compass, and then I went according to the compass, so I'd see the corners of the room and know that that's a love corner and that's a love corner.
Very nice. So at least you are level 1, I would say.
I'm zero. I'm zero. Yeah.
Okay. Zero? Okay. So it's very interesting when you're zero, because then I can just talk about everything, and everything is new and everything is fresh for everyone. But when you know something, then sometimes it's the right thing and sometimes it's not the right thing. But then if it's not the right thing, you have to unlearn it, and which is quite a task. Anyone else? Any experiences?
I have a lot of experience, in fact, but I practice myself, like reading on Feng Shui,
Okay.
like tidiness and the things what you don't use for 6 months, whether you have to dispose
Perfect.
it off,
So,
or the green plants
Yes.
bring positive energy. The only problems I find in calculating the directions.
Okay.
I tried my
Okay.
best, my hard, but sometimes it went wrong.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
goes wrong.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to start at a very important aspect of what Feng Shui is all about, and whether one should really do it oneself or one should get professional advice. But Feng Shui is something which we can incorporate not only into our space, we can incorporate it into ourselves as well. So it's quite simple. Just the way you dress, just the way you coordinate your clothes. It comes to everybody so naturally. How does that happen? I mean, nobody taught you, but it is Feng Shui. You got to balance your colors out, you balance your shoes, you balance your bag, you sort of know what to do and how to do it, right? And that is actually what Feng Shui is, creating a sense of balance. Okay, anyone else? Any experiences, or all fresh?
I did 2 years of workshops with Feng Shui, but I still don't know how to do it.
Oh.
And that was 20 years ago.
Okay.
Nobody did it.
Yes. Yes.
To practice it, to learn.
Yes. Okay. So you are okay, level 1 plus, I would say. All right. So let me give you a small, quick brief on what Feng Shui is all about. Feng Shui is firstly a Chinese science. It originated approximately 5,000 years ago in China, and I think the way it really, the story is that when there was a war and the king wanted to sort of capture the enemy side, and he asked for the blessings of God, and came up a little turtle from the river with the numerical formula of the Bakwa. And that is where the Chinese wise men sat together and tried to understand or decipher what are these numbers and what do they indicate. When they saw there were these 8 directions and there were these numbers, they sort of, so Feng Shui was created. It wasn't like something that was, I don't know, it just came in, the wise men started to understand the numbers, they started deciphering the information from that, and then started putting into use. It was trial and error, and every time they kept coming across success, they started documenting it. So for the longest time, it was always documented in Chinese, and when I studied it, that was 25 years ago when I started studying it. I've got 5 master's certifications in Feng Shui, so my journey started 25 years ago, but when it did, it was always in Chinese. I only have Chinese masters, and I had to use a translator. Now, why do I share this information with you? Because when you are being told, like, it's being translated, so I haven't heard it from the horse's mouth. I've heard the Chinese version. I don't know the English version. So it's the version of what she understood, or he understood, wherever that I was. Till much later in the years, I have a Chinese master who speaks broken English, and he started to teach because he's a professor at one of the universities in China for Feng Shui. And I started to study with him, and that's when I truly learned the real Feng Shui. Otherwise, what we get is a very watery version of the Feng Shui, which works. So this is a little bit of the history of Feng Shui. It's based on the 5 elements of the universe, which is earth, water, fire, wood, and metal. Now, traditional Chinese medicine, if you've heard about TCM, is based on these 5 elements and is the principal science in which Feng Shui is a part of it. Acupuncture, acupressure, all of this is also a part of TCM, and Feng Shui is a part of TCM. Why is Feng Shui a part of TCM? Is basically because the Chinese believe that, interestingly, if you just give it a little bit of thought, that the physical body is the home of the soul, and the physical home is the home of the body. And then the city that we are living in is the home of this house. So we are, let's say me, Priya Khanna, is in this body, which is living in Al-Safa, and then Al-Safa is in Dubai, and Dubai is in UAE, and UAE is in the Middle East, and the Middle East is in the universe. This is how it goes. So that each space has an identity, and that identity has a physical space attached to it. So which means if my soul needs to be in a good space, then my body needs to be in a good space, then my home needs to be in a good space, then my city needs to be in a good space, and then the country needs to be in a good space, and so on and so forth, so forth. Why so? Very simple, because the energy that whatever we are taking in is coming from the universe. Now, if there are any blocks or there are any situations which are happening within our body, then our soul is not going to feel well. If it's happening within our home, then our body is not going to feel well. If the home's not, if the city is not all right, my home's not going to be all right. Just a small example, if there's a war, obviously your home's not safe, right? Your home's got infected with something, your body is not safe. Your body got infected with something, obviously the soul's not safe. So it's a very interesting concept when you look at it not from a very close perspective, when you look at it from a larger perspective. It's just a way of aligning your energy with the universe. And what is the universe? The universe is this entire space which is infinite, it cannot be defined, it's just like your breath, As long as we're breathing, we're part of this universe, and then when we stop breathing, we become a part of the 5 elements, which is earth, water, fire, metal, and wood. So why is this called a science? Because there are principles, there are numerics, it's documented, it is written, and anybody can study it. Why is it called holistic? Because it is something that deals with your well-being. And well-being not only of the body, but of the mind, of the soul, of your emotions, your health, career, relationships. Now, in reality, if you look at life, this is what life is all about, isn't it? From morning till evening, we talk about our food, we talk about sleep, we talk about work, we talk about our relations with our family and friends and work and everything. So that's the whole cycle of life. So because it's the whole cycle of life, and that's the whole journey and the experience that we're here for in this universe, so hence there is that holistic aspect to it. But because it's a definable, it's a very explainable, logical sort of science, this is why it's called a science. So I always say that Feng Shui is a science that needs to be practiced as an art. Why so? Because it may be a science, but it's not something like, I mean, it's not like a formula, it's not like a chemical formula. What might be applicable to me may not be applicable to her. What might be suitable for me might not be suitable for you. And whatever is my element may not be the most suitable element for someone else. So it is a very intricate, very fine, and a very subtle science which is for each individual differently. Now I'm going to give you a small example. So every one of us has a date of birth. We all know our birth dates, right? We know where we are born, when we are born, and what is the time of our birth. Let's say most people today know their time. I mean, in the old days, yes. When I work with Arabs and nationals, they don't know their time of birth because there was no hospitals at that time. But most of us do. So when you have these, this is called the 4 pillars of your life, which is the year, the month, the day, and the hour. These are the 4 pillars of your life. Why are they the 4 pillars? Because these define in a science called, I mean, not a science, but one aspect of Feng Shui is called Bazi, which means the 4th pillar of your destiny, which means the 4th pillar of yourself. And it defines the different elements that are assigned to you from your date of birth. Now from that information, if I was to feed in that information, I can find out what is the self-element of this individual, or that one, or that one, or that one. So when we do Feng Shui for any space, it's so important for us to know what is our self-element. Why would I want to know that? Because then the rest of the 4 elements will have a correlation with my element. For example, I'm born a water element, and it's a strong water. What does that really mean? That means the water is too high. So which also means that water then is not my best suitable element because it's already too high. So then, because water and fire clash against each other, so fire becomes my best friend. Why? Because if I want to bring down that water element, I need to use fire. The next best element becomes earth, right? The next best element becomes wood. Why? Because wood, you need water to feed the wood. So the wood will exhaust the water. So it will bring the element down. Now this is the whole basis of the science. This is how it works. Which means you find out your self-element and then you work around that. Okay? So having said this, what I'm trying to say to you is that it is a very simple science. It has principles based on the 5 elements. However, it is intrinsic to your own self and your own date of birth. Okay? So I'm going to talk about how the cycle of elements works and how we can use it in our life. Unless, of course, you have any ideas or you have questions, I will answer them later, but I'll give you a brief on this. Yeah. So the cycle of creation, there's something called a cycle of creation and a cycle of destruction. The cycle of creation goes as follows. So, you know, in the old times, metal was considered a frequency of exchange. You know, that was money, metal. We didn't have paper money, we only had metal money. And metal people used to buy metal like gold and silver and hold it because they thought any time that they need money, they can exchange it. And metal is an element that can be liquidified. You know, if you heat metal, it becomes liquid. So in Feng Shui, water is the energy of money. So anything that's liquid is the energy of money. It's just it's a connotation given by the Chinese. You know, this kind of say, water is money or chi is money. This is how they relate to it. So because metal can be liquidified, they say that metal creates water, which means metal creates money. Okay? Water feeds the wood. Wood creates the fire. The fire creates the earth. Now, how does the fire create the earth? We don't know the evolution of the universe, in all honesty, because nobody is alive to give us that information. However, we witness that earthquakes bring out lava, and they create more earth and more earth. And how do earthquakes take place? Because of excessive fire energy. So they say, the Chinese say, I mean in their own little way of explaining things, that metal creates water, water creates wood, wood creates fire, and fire then creates earth. And in the earth you find metal. So this is the cycle of creation. Okay? And then the cycle of destruction. So it's the other way around. So fire will extinguish the water, and water will bring down the metal, and so on and so forth. However, I'm sure everybody understands that we use an axe to cut wood. We use earth to control the water. You know how we make the palm and we've got these islands we put in the earth, we control the water. So there are these elements which go against each other, which we would say are the controlling elements. And so sometimes when you have an excess of energy, then you use a controlling element to sort of bring that down. So let's say, for example, you have a big pond or a lot of water around your home or your space, and you don't know what to do with it. Well, what to do? The next best thing is put boulders, put something which is earth element. It will balance out the water. Haven't you seen that? Mostly, rivers always have stone. They don't have trees, they have stone. Although water feeds the wood, but it's too less to hold the water back. So, stone. So even in nature, you will see that the universe has been created in such a manner that if there is a fire, what did we have in Australia? What were we asking for? We were asking for water. We didn't ask for sand, we didn't ask for a sandstorm, we were asking for water. So these are the elements that control the other element. And this is what is called the cycle of destruction. So how do we use this in your own life? One way, of course, find out your self-element and then work with that. How do we work with? Let's go into the self-element a little bit because that will be very interesting. Reason being very simple again. So if you look after your own energy, then, I mean, if every one of us looked after our own energy, then no one would have to look after the other person, which means the entire world would be looked after. But what do? We look after others, and we do not look after ourselves. I look after my child, and the child will look after somebody else, and so on and so forth. I look after my husband, and his mother, his father, my mother, my father, but I forget about myself. Now what if I was looking after myself, and you looked after yourself, and you looked after yourself, and everybody looked after themselves, and only themselves? Very important thing will happen. We'll stop talking about others, we'll stop looking at others, we'll stop wondering about others, which means our entire focus will come within us, and then all of us will become centered. And what does that mean? How many of us feel that we're not here, that we are there and there and there because we're thinking of 100 things. 100 things all the time because I'm worried about my child and my parents and my family and whatever else. But what if I was to just do this? I was to just focus here. And of course, you have little babies, yes, sure, because babies are always with you. You know, you look after them until they grow up and start looking after themselves. But how would I let my child look after themselves if I don't know how to look after myself? So because I don't look after myself, I look after the baby. The baby thinks it's okay not to look after itself and will depend on someone else and start looking after someone else. Maybe their little dog or their playmate or whoever else. So we're just creating a whole cycle where we are getting dependent on other things and other people rather than becoming independent, which means dependent on ourselves. So this is where the Chinese come from. They say that if you look after yourself and each one looks after themselves, then we're all centered and we all focus. And that's why they all have this whole thing about being in alignment with their own energy and, you know, just like to keep their energy within themselves. And that's why they do Tai Chi, Kung Fu. All of these energies are to pull the energy from the universe and sort of bring it in. If you try that, you will really get to understand how powerful your body can become, and that you do not need medication or you do not need anything because your mind will be controlling everything around you because you will become so strong. Why? Because your mind will not be wandering. And when your mind wanders, what happens? You pick up thoughts, you pick up emotions, you pick up frequencies which actually are not yours, you're just picking them up. But you bring them home because when you come back, when your mind comes back, it comes back with you because it's in your mind. And then you start thinking they're yours. But in reality, they aren't. They never were. It's just something that you picked up somewhere. And that's it. And then you make it yours and then you start living with it. And that's what I call monkeys on your back. These are the monkeys on your back which you can do without. So the one way, of course, is to keep yourself centered, and the other way is to keep yourself clean. When you keep your energies clean is also when you are centered. Okay, so now I'm going to touch upon what happens when you do your 4 pillars of destiny, what happens when you take your own element and you know what your element is. We can tell from the time when you get your own self-element, you will find out what are your good colors. When you know your good colors, you know your good food, which means, you know, the rainbow plate, so you eat food according to the rainbow plate. Now, let's say I am a water element, so obviously my water is not very good for me because it's very powerful, it's very strong. I need to then balance my food accordingly. So I will start eating food which will give me more fire and more wood and more earth energy. And I will avoid food which has got too much of water energy. If you Google, you'll get a list of food which will tell you what is water and what is this thing, which is not difficult at all. Anybody can do that. That's one good thing. So you start bringing your body into balance. Once the minute your body starts coming into balance, you will see that the emotions start coming into balance, your mental state comes back into balance. And then you get to understand what are your good vitamins. You know, everybody's living on vitamins nowadays. Nobody dies at 60 years of age unless you have stress-related issues. Most people look after their health and they live long. How? Because they're all using vitamins. They're using other means of supporting their body to be strong enough to live a long life. So now, not all vitamins are good for you. For example, I mean, everybody says omega 3, 6, 9. How many of us take omega 3, 6, 9? Yeah? It's the worst element for me because it's water. If I was to take omega 3, I would just go out of water, out of balance. So my element is fire. I need to take fire in earth. Now, we can define for you what is what element. So, for example, fire, if anybody needs fire energy, we incorporate, have you heard of CoQ10? CoQ10, yeah? So CoQ10, ginseng is fire energy. And let's say, for example, somebody is a weak wood, then you know what happens? When we say this, weak wood or weak fire or what, over-energized water, it will have an effect on your physical organs. So weak wood would mean weak eyes, a weak memory, a weak comprehension. So isn't it important for us to balance that? Because if I have weak eyes, I can just sort of bring my element back into balance. Or if I have very weak memory and I can't understand things, I should just start taking the wood element and it will bring it back. So have you heard of Ginkgo biloba? Again, a very common, it strengthens your memory, it increases the wood element. So this is the reason why it's important to know your own self element so that you can start balancing them. Now, when you know your self element, the next thing you do is you know your clothes, because you know what are the colors which will enhance your energy, which will bring forward a sense of balance. Now suppose I start wearing all black, I'll go crazy, because that's all water energy. I don't want black, I want red and maroon and earth and something else so that I can feel a sense of balance. The day I go and find black clothes, I have to sit down and start checking myself, what's wrong? Because I know black's not right for me. So the day if I go for black trouser, black something, it means there's something going on. And that going on is getting my mind out of balance, and then everything I do will be out of balance. So this is how Feng Shui works on a personal level. Now when you know your personal elements, you then also know how you want to decorate your home. Okay? How does that work? That works like this. Now I chose this to be next to me. So do you see this sort of energy flowing here? And today my colors are going here. I like my greens and a little bit of orange, a little bit of pink and everything. How come? This is probably the energy that I need, because again my water energy is high. I need to bring this down, and so I place this plant over here. And when you place things around you, you can add color, you can... most people think Feng Shui is about putting all these Chinese-looking things. Well, not really. Not really. You don't have to. If you want to, it's fine. There are certain cures in Feng Shui. If we do it traditionally, yes, we need to use some things, but not always. I can create Feng Shui with just the way you live. And I usually say that, you know, when you're doing Feng Shui, make Feng Shui a part of your life and make it your way of life, rather than becoming obsessed with Feng Shui and doing Feng Shui to sort of enhance your life. No, this is my life, this is the way I live. Now what can I do to this is the way I wanted to sit. That's how I wanted to sit. So when I walked in, I said, change the chairs, and I changed everything here. Everything is positioned now. Why? Because this is how I wanted to feel. This is my feel. This is how I want to be. You might want to be different. Somebody wants to have a very modern, structured sort of a living room, and some people want this elaborate, ornate kind of furniture, and the others want medium, you know, contemporary, classic contemporary furniture, which is fine. Somebody likes light wood, somebody likes dark wood. I'm not going to say no to light wood, but what I am going to do is then suggest, depending upon your element, what is the kind of rug you can have. Can you have a gray, or can you have a maroon? Can you have a green, or can you have a blue? That's where I would play with it. I wouldn't go and say, no, too bad, this needs to change. No, nothing needs to change. We just need to swap a few things. Like, I don't know how many of you noticed I brought in a red cushion and I put it there. You know, I just brought that red because there's just too much metal energy going on here, and that just means very cold. Why would it be cold? I'll give you a very small, subtle example here. Why would this be cold? It's on my left, I'm not even looking at them. Are they feeling included? No. How can I show them some warmth? How can I show them that I care? So I brought in some energy there. I just placed some candles here, because I knew this is too drab. There was gray here, gray there, everywhere gray. And then it was on my left side, which is my yin energy. This is my yang side, which is my powerful energy. And then if there were extra people, they would sit here. So keeping all of that in mind, I just brought in some fire element into this bowl, and I brought in a red cushion there so that it still looks inviting and not left out. Even though I'm not seeing them, but I have them in my sphere of energy. They're with me. So this is how you play with Feng Shui. It's very subtle. It's not like do this and do that. Now, we work with the 8 segments of the universe, which is east, west, north, south, southeast, northwest, northeast, southwest. Each segment has an association with an aspect of our life. I'm not sure if you want to go into those details, but if you do, I can share with you something simple, such as, so marriage and relationships, the corner that you need to look at is southwest, okay? When you are doing that, if you're having a problem with your marriage and relationship, what do you think we need to do? When we say my marriage is not doing well or my relationship's not doing well, what does it mean? It's not healthy. So we look at the health direction as well, because health is not only physical health, mental, spiritual, emotional, every sort of health. If I'm not emotionally well, I'm going to be unwell physically as well. If I'm not mentally in peace, I will be unwell on the physical level. So every time that you're talking about something not being well, not being in the right state of health, which is a relationship, let's say, then you look at the relationship segment and you look at the health segment. And the health segment is east. So you look at the east and you look at the southwest. And you, when I say look at, what do? You look at, she's sort of drawing out her plan. I'm going to teach you how to do this.
Are you talking about your room or your home?
Yeah, so you always first look at
The
your
bedroom.
home.
Oh, the home.
Home, never the room. And when you're looking at the home, you know what you're going to do? You're going to do something like this.
So,
You're going to
so what
literally
if like
stand
the
up.
southwest was your kitchen?
Yes, it's fine. If it's your kitchen, it's your kitchen. And then what you're going to do with the kitchen? So like I walk in and this is my southwest, let's say, okay? If this is my southwest and I think my southwest, so we need to know what should be in the southwest first, what is right and what is wrong about the things that are going to be in the southwest. So southwest is an energy of fire and earth. So now we're going to go into step by step. If it's fire and earth, which means it's red, maroon, orange, purple, burgundy, these are the colors. And if it's earth, then it's like beige, cream, off-white. These are the sand colors. These are the colors of earth. And then, which means we don't want any metal, we don't want any water, and we could do without the wood. But we could still do with a little bit of metal, like as in gold, because gold is like an enhancer. Now you put anything little gold, it enhances the energy. So a little bit of gold, yes. Earth, yes. Fire, yes. So what do I have here? What does this look like? Wood, right? It looks like that old wood. So the first thing I would do is move this. What are the books? The books are wood element. They're made paper, made out of wood. Is this the right place for the books? No, get it out. You see, this is metallic because this is electronic systems. Is this the right place for it? No. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of all of this. Then what do I do after which? I'm going to pick up something like this, an earth element, a color that is earth color, and I'm going to bring it in that space. So now what I'm creating is an energy which is conducive to that segment, to that aspect of my life. All right? And then I've positioned a few things just to show you that when...
It's too much water.
Too much water. Thanks to my excessive water. What's happening?
Maybe step.
Is it because I'm walking? I don't know. Okay, so the other thing that I want to show you here is how I position things. So if you're looking at relationship issues, you know what you have to do is always remember that you have to keep things in pairs. So just put two things. Now this is very big, so this is earth element. I'm just sort of emphasizing the earth element here. But anything else, if you notice, I put it in pairs. I put that in pairs. So when you pair something up, you're trying to create that energy of togetherness. And it can be at work. Now why do I do it at work? Because I still have to work with me and you. So if I don't have a you and I don't have a good relationship with you, there is no work. So if I want work, then I need to make sure that my relationships at work are in a good space, in good health. Okay, so this is how you sort of find your, and see this, I love these. So in Feng Shui we use Mandarin ducks, which is something that enhances relationships and marriage. And I love these ducks when I saw them here, so I brought them. This is how we place them. Most people will place them like this. Okay, I go to homes, they place them like this. Or they will place them like this. Now what happens? You go your way, I go mine. We're on parallel roads, we'll never meet. You place them like this, we're always at dagger's end. But when you place them like this, you're together. See, looking at each other. They're looking at each other. So you kind of create an energy of being together. So this is so important. Everything is important. I've changed something else. All the books were kept like this when I arrived at the store. And I turned them around. I moved them like this. So when I keep them like this, there is a flow of chi everywhere. Okay? When I make them like this is a block. And it's sharp energy hitting out. So it's a block, something's coming from tap, stop. So whatever segment of your life it is in, you will find there are blocks coming up. I do this and something goes wrong. And I do this and something goes wrong. So instead, I just create flow. Everywhere there's a flow. Everywhere, you see, all along there is a flow. And never put any frames. When I write, this is how it was. I think I need to be away from that. Yeah, sorry. Okay, I get it. Sorry. Okay, so you never use a frame straight. Always angle it again, because the energy will flow. Otherwise, the energy will get blocked. And let's say if an energy gets blocked, and you have the wedding picture there, what do you think will happen? Boom, there'll be an attack. Boom, you'll find there's things going wrong. So what do Feng Shui experts really do when they go to a person's home? When I walk into a home, all I do is walk around. Oh, great. And then involuntarily I start turning things around. And then I try to show people how that is. And in about half an hour, I'll show them the shift in the frequency, because the minute you change things around, energy shifts. Okay? Why does energy shift? Because life is a moving thing. Because frequencies move. We move. We are breathing. Till the time we're breathing, there is nothing called stagnant energy. We're always ever changing. So which means what? The minute you move the energy changes. It changes. If you don't know anything, just do this. It will change. It just shifts. So now, this lady was talking about clutter clearing, and you talked about the kitchen. So suppose your relationship area or a marriage area or your southwest area is in the kitchen, or it's in the toilet.
Yeah, what about
You
the
know,
toilet?
what about the toilet? Or what about the store? That's even worse, because then it's locked up, right? So what could you do? You'll just make that look as neat and clean as possible. You'll make sure there are no knives like this. You'll make sure everything is properly kept. You'll make sure that your knives are in the wooden box so that, you know, no daggers pointing. You'll make sure your kitchen's looking like Crated Barrel. Literally. So now it's a lot of work. What if your southwest segment was inside your wardrobe? You know, just where the wardrobes are. Then, do you know what I do? I was sharing this yesterday. Everything in my home is color-coded. every garment, every shoe, every bag, everything. It has to be in an order of size, color, and even the wardrobes will be, you should keep your trousers in one wardrobe and your office clothes in one, and maybe your dinner jackets in the other, and your dresses in the other, and it has to be color coded. Why? I mean, people say, are you crazy? No. You know why? It's clutter here in the brain.
What if you don't have space? I mean, I've got that. I lived that.
I know. So when I didn't have space, I mean, I've come through life. So I've lived in smaller apartments, small villas, bigger villas, and all of that. When I didn't have that, you know what I did? I used to have these IKEA boxes, but it was still color coded. And then I was doing someone's house, which is very, very interesting. I must share this with you. Can't remember where this lady was from, but okay. Yeah, I don't remember her nationality, but you know what she taught me? When I walked into her house, she was in a furnished apartment, very simple place, and every shoe was facing outwards. So normally how do we put our shoes? We put our shoes this way, so the back is out and the front is in. And when the minute I saw her shoes facing outwards, I said, whoa, that energy is great. It was color coded, it was all fine, the flat shoes were in front, the heels were at the back, all that was okay. That's not what caught my attention. What caught my attention was, she is going on in life, she's moving on. She's not blocked. My shoes were blocked. And the day when I came back, the first thing I did was got all my shoes to face outwards, and the rest is history. Seriously, it was one of the nicest things I learned from a client, and it's not something that I learned through my own teacher or whatever, because they don't go into so many details. However, this is how Feng Shui can actually help, and this is what Feng Shui is. It can really make a difference. All right, so now if we were to talk about a little bit about health, so you know, when you have if you have a health issue, you can look into the health segment. But let's say you have no issue, then I wouldn't bother touching it. Because in Feng Shui they say that if it ain't broken, you don't mend it. Okay? The other thing they say is that what you cannot see does not exist, but you do exist for me. So, yeah, so what we say is that when you can't see something, so if you put it away, you put it into the closet, and if the closet is neat and clean, then yes, don't bother about it. But let's say the closet that you put things into, again, falls into a segment which is giving you trouble. So for example, career, now, or business and career. Now the segment that goes for business and career is north. And let's say I'm having trouble with my work. What do I want to do? I want to look into the north segment of my house. And the minute I look at the north, I'm looking at this closed wardrobe, and I'm like, it's okay, I can't see it, doesn't matter. But no, now this is work, there's something I can't see, I need to go into it. So you need to open that closet and see what's going on there. Now what would I find? I might find some old rubbish, some dried flowers, I might find some, maybe a dagger or a knife. You know, we all have these kind of things, we just store them away. Now if there's something like that, pull it out and keep it as neatly as possible. Remove anything which is called sharchi, anything which is called negative energy. See, negative doesn't mean negative. Negative is a relative term. The same knife is very useful in the kitchen, but it's not useful in the bedroom. So it becomes negative in the bedroom, but it's very, very useful in the kitchen. So again, this is what I mean, that something that's not supposed to be where it is, you remove it and you air out that space, and you will find a huge difference taking place. Just airing out is a very good way of changing the energy. You don't really need to do very much. So I've given you a little brief of how we do what we do. If you have any questions, tell me.
Yeah.
Or you want me to touch upon some topic, tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. First First of all, thanks so much for such an
Pleasure.
enlightening
Pleasure.
talk. Just you talked about the element, like your element, but how to find out like your element? Is it?
So you see, Feng Shui is not simple. It's a very intricate science. Even if you find out your element, somebody who is a specialist must tell you what to do with it. So if you're really involved and you really want to know, then you have to go for a consultation with somebody and find out your details from them, and then take a guidance as to what I should do, and then incorporate that. So let's say you find out your good colors and everything, try to work with it on yourself, try to put it in your environment, and balance out your energy like this. But even if you find out on your own, let's say even if you Google it somewhere, firstly you won't find it because it's in Chinese, it's a 1,000-year almanac. Somebody has to know how to read Chinese. Like if I had to read it, it takes a little bit of time to make that chart, and then to read it, and then to explain to you what is happening. It's okay. Very interesting aspect of this chart is that it is predictive, but not like how we have it in astrology, how people predict in astrology. This is predictive, but it's analytical, which means suppose somebody comes around and says to me, I want to change my job, or I'm going to move countries. I'm deciding to go to the UK, or I'm going to be in US or Canada or South Africa or Africa, anywhere, Australia. This chart can tell you whether your energy is going to take you to that space or not. And which is very interesting, because if you aren't going to be in that space, that energetic space, remember I told you that we have an energy that our body has and the space has, so the country has too. So when the country has an energy and it's not matching with your energy, you're never going to be able to live in that space. Why are we living in the UAE? Because our energies are conducive to this energy. So hence we are here. Otherwise we could have been anywhere. We're born in different countries, but we're still living here.
What if we're born here?
Yeah, if you're born here, you're born here. Then it's fine.
But it doesn't mean that our energies are still
conducive, yes. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. There is no way you can be here. I mean, when I say be here, want to be here, and be happy here. Be doing what you want to do here. I mean, if you weren't happy, you would have found a way to get out of it. But because you're okay.
What if you can't? What if you're trapped?
Well, you are not trapped anyway, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, what if you want to leave, but your husband's business is based here and he doesn't want to leave?
So then, if something like that happens, it's very interesting. Whoever has a stronger chart, whoever's energy is stronger. Point one. Point two, who's the bread earner? His energy will override the other partners. Number three, what is the energy of the rest of the family, which means the children. If you have children, they have their own destiny. It's their energy. If they have to study here, they're going to be here. Husband's energy also says it's going to be here. Wife can do what she likes. Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just know, no point pushing this, because moving countries is expensive and it's challenging, and you don't want to take on those challenges and the expenses if you can't analyze and just come to a conclusion as to how you do this.
Can you have a feng shui energy as a couple and as like an entire family, like 4 or 5 people having a feng shui energy, or is it all individualistic?
It's always individual.
And how do you figure out how to, rearrange a room based on a family?
So rooms are always rearranged in the most neutral manner. Now there are 5 elements. You will have only one self-element. So technically you'll have 2 conducive and 2 non-conducive elements in each individual. High likelihood if you're married, you'll have something which is in common. It won't be possible that you have nothing in common. Okay, so you can always work around that. And then let's say somebody is stronger, and then strong fire. Okay, this is a great combination because the earth energy will bring down the fire energy already. So that's calming it down. And because you are a conducive element to your husband, let's say, then you can bring up your energy so that your energy can further support him. So it's a very, very subtle way of working. You can work, that's why I said it's very individual. There are no broad line things are like this, you know, like what I just showed you. You must keep this, must keep that, keep your space clear, and so. Yeah.
If I may ask, you mentioned that if you are in a room, for example, I would like to see the southwest corner. So if we are going to a room and we check this corner, living room or southwest, but for example, there is a long hall and other rooms. So we go to the rooms also and we check this corner, the same corner.
No, let's do this. Let's do this. So let's say this is the plan of the house. This is the house.
The house is like living and rooms.
Don't worry about it. The end of the day, you're an engineer. So at the end of the day, you have a house which is going to be a structure, whether it's rectangular or whatever the shape is. You can come up with a format, just a format first. And then you stand in the center of the house, just the center of the house. And now see where is the north. Wherever is the north. The rest of the energies you will find. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. So the minute you get the north and the south, and you've got the east and the west here, this becomes the southwest, this becomes southeast, northeast, and the northwest. So this is how it is. So the minute you get one direction, you know the opposite. You just draw a line, and then you know the rest of the direction. The mid directions are the other directions. So now that you've got your segments, so this is again very interesting. 360 degrees is what we're working with. Everything is 45 degrees each. We work with the 22 degrees of the meat of the segment. So although the segment is from here to here, we're only going to talk about this part. Fair enough? You get me? So what happens is these are weaker areas because they're almost going into the next segment. They always work with the meat of the area. So the meat of the segment is where we will work. So every portion, we work with the meat of the segment. Just this much. I wish I had a whiteboard, I would have shown it to you. But that's it. So you only look at those aspects. You stand in the middle of the house. And most people who pray already know the directions. They know where is the west. So we already know that this is one direction. And the rest of it you can just figure out if you want to figure out. Don't go into detailing too much. Just broad line is enough. This is the west. Okay. What is the west area connected with? It's children. Children's luck. So if your children are having trouble, not studying, not feeling well, then if they're not feeling well, what do? You look at the west and you look at the east, because health is in the east and the children's direction is the west. So you do this combination. You don't do just the west. You always do the east and the west, if it's the health. If it's a child's career, you look at the career and the west. So north and west. Okay? If it's education, it's northeast. If it's a child's education, it's northeast and west. If it's your own education, it's just the northeast. If it's your own health, it's just the east. So you look at the segments depending upon what aspect of life you're working with. And just, when I say look, I seriously mean look. Look and see what's wrong, what's not right. What do you think it should be? Because you'll know the colors of the directions. If you just download that from Google, it's very easy. You'll find out each segment has colors related to it. So if you just write down the colors and use them, that's it.
Also, are there some general rules, like if you're in your bedroom and you are able to see a mirror, say
Yes.
from when you're...
Yes, so
that
these
is
are
a-
very simple ones, like you should never have a mirror across your bed. The logic behind that is very, very, very simple, and everybody would agree, because you are not two in the room anymore. You are more than two, because you can see yourself and you can see someone else. So you're four people, which will result in two things, which is, one thing is that the room will not have enough energy to feed four people's bodies whilst the bodies rest. And the second thing will be, there will be four bodies, so there will be infidelity. So definitely no mirrors in the bedroom. That's point one. Yeah.
What about bedside table?
The bedside table is fine.
Okay.
Mirrors.
Okay, it's
Mirrors.
opposite. It's opposite my bed.
No, what do you say?
There's a
No, we're talking about a mirror.
yeah, chest of drawers, but it's a mirrored chest of
Ah,
drawers
that's
opposite my bed.
Terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, not even
I'll
not
move-
even a dressing room.
And dressing room, dressing tables are really bad news. The only way to align. That's okay.
Like on the side, not across. Yeah, the side table.
And also, if you want to, if your bed is, let's say, aligned, this is your headboard, and you have a dressing table next to you here with a mirror, that's the only spot you can have the dresser, because that will not reflect the bed directly or even indirectly. But the minute you have a mirror anywhere else in the room, it will duplicate the bed.
And what about the headboard? There should be a strong headboard.
Yes, a strong headboard. I think these are very, very simple ones,
Yeah.
but you know, a strong headboard always gives you clean support, a clear head. If you have bars like this, it breaks and cuts out the energy. Iron rods like wrought iron beds are bad news. Anything. You know why we used to have four-poster beds? Anyone who can give me an answer to that? Four-poster beds.
Pillows?
Mm-hmm. For pillars, yes. It's like guards. It's like having your energy guarded. So for pillars are like four guards. So your energy is protected. So when your aura opens up and the soul leaves for its astral travel in the night, and that's when you need protection. So that was the four posters was for that.
Also, one other question. So I have these like birds
Mm.
in rose quartz in my love area. One broke.
Mm.
What do I do in that case? Throw? Chuck.
Into the water, get yourself another pair.
Okay.
And don't waste time.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Not because something will go wrong or won't go wrong, but a thought will govern the emotion, and the emotion will take place and create an action. And that's how the universe works. Now, how does that happen? If you do not think about water, no, if you don't think about thirst, you will not think about water. Don't think about water, you will not pick up the water, you will not make that action. So it's the thought that governs the entire universe. Where does thought come from? Consciousness, all around us, everywhere. So the thoughts are everywhere. Now what is it that what's on our mind? Our mind is something's broken. I mean, there's something physical, it broke. But what did you go? You went tuck, 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 relationship, I hope nothing goes wrong. So you already, the keywords, relationship, broken, nothing goes wrong, right? So these are your keywords. What are you going to attract? Those thoughts. What will happen? Emotion will rise. What will happen? Kuch bhi nahi hua. Nothing has happened at home. Nothing has happened in the family. But the minute the husband walks in, where were you? Why you think? What happened? And he's like, what's wrong with this one? Oh, I don't know what she's talking about. But this is how it works. So this is how we create what we create. Yeah. So yes, if it's broken, get it.
What's broken? I missed that.
Okay, so she was talking about one of the birds, and her bird is, one of them is broken. So I was telling her, just let go of the other one, and if you want one, then you just bring another pair.
Bring together.
Together. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question. You were talking about the elements that it should be angled. How about artworks?
No, art's fine. Art is not to be angled. It's on a wall, right?
Yeah.
And that, thank you for touching that point. If you ever building a home or if you're renting a home, avoid homes with crooked walls. You know, cut 5-volt or crooked rooms. Those energies you cannot really work very well with. I'm not going to say that you can't align them. You can, but it's a lot of hard labor to sort of align those energies because they're already very deeply rooted energy. It's already constructed in that manner. So the chi is flowing there. We do have other ways. Okay, for everyone here, Amal's my niece, and she's like coming up with these faces every now and then.
Regarding beds, why do they say it's very bad luck to open a door and have a bed in front of you? And second
Yes.
of all, regarding the mirror, people say from a Feng Shui perspective, usually architects use that mirrors outside the house is good because it reflects. They always say a corner of a mirror once, so it pulls out bad energy before it enters the house. Is that true?
So this is interesting again. I'll take it one by one. The first question you brought up was a door in front of the bed, right? So any door is actually considered the mouth of where the energy enters. For example, the main door, we consider that as the mouth of the house. So the mouth of the bedroom is obviously the door of the bedroom. Now, just simple logic, if you are in front of the bedroom, in front of the door, you're lying on your bed and somebody suddenly walks in, how are you going to feel? Very uncomfortable, right? Even though you would have locked the door, even though it's at the back of your mind, so you're not going to be a sense of peace. So it's a logical issue, which means if you want to rest, you never design a home with this kind of an energy. It's not bad or good, lucky or unlucky. There is no such thing. There is no lucky, unlucky out here. It is just simple logic that you can't sleep. Also, when you are in a single line, let me explain this to you. If you're in a single line, this is your bed and this is your door, and it's in a single line. Your head is here, your feet are here, and the door is here. This is a suction point of energy. So you are never going to be rested and you're going to be drained of energy. It just sucks out because it's a tunnel, right? A door is like a tunnel. So it would suck out your energy and you're going to be tired and not rejuvenated. And the whole idea of a bedroom is to give you peaceful sleep and to be making you feel absolutely refreshed in the morning. And when you get up, you should have a smile rather than a frown as to, oh, or this or that. Now that's why we avoid even a window behind your bed is not acceptable at all, at all.
Not side. If the window is here and your bed is here.
Yeah, if it's on another wall, it's fine. I'm just saying behind your bed, which is the headboard, has a window, is not an exception. Because again, it's a suction point and the energy will come.
How about cupboards? Cupboards can be in front of bed, like where you.
Yeah, there's no issue about cupboards. No, there's no issue about wardrobes. Beams, yes. Beams are a big no-no. But again, what you cannot see does not exist. So thank you to the false ceiling concept of the new modern world. If the beam is inside the false ceiling, the effect is lowered. I'm not going to say it does not have an effect. It has an effect, but the effect is way lower when it is camouflaged. However, you never sit under a beam, irrespective of anything. So you know there's a pillar, there has to be a beam. Try avoiding sitting under the beam, because anybody who can give me this answer, it's a very, very easy answer. No. Okay, all of us have something that's called the divine cord. The energy comes from the universe into our crown chakra. Now this crown chakra will get blocked the minute there is a beam up there. You will not get energy and you will start feeling depleted. So this is the reason why you never sit under a beam. You cannot sit under a beam. You will not be comfortable under a beam. For maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, yes, but long periods of time, no way. You need open spaces. It's claustrophobia of a different level where the chakras get blocked, not the physical body, but the chakras.
Going back to the mirror
Mhm.
thing, when you open your front door, they say to have a mirror there so that
Yeah,
any
she talked about
bad
it just
energy is reflected back out straight away.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
So this was an interesting one. We answered this yesterday as well. It depends upon what you have outside. Now let's say you're in an apartment and there's a lift outside. Sure, I want that energy going out, definitely. Or there is a shaft and there is a garbage room there, and then I want that energy out. But let's say I'm living in a villa and my villa has the most gorgeous water feature and a beautiful garden and I have space there. I want that energy in, right? So it all depends on what I have outside. Now suppose I have a desert and it's dry and it's got cacti and I'm sure I want it out. So it's very, it's not something you can say, this is it right and this is not. There is nothing right and nothing wrong. You have to make your own, you have to take a call on what is the energy you want coming in. One thing I must talk about mirrors here is, so when you do have a mirror in front of your main door, when you open the door, you walk in and you have a console and a mirror. Do you see in Middle East, we all have mirrors in front of our doors. It's a very huge Middle Eastern thing. Do you know why? So the minute the person, whoever is entering your home, the first thing he sees is himself. Tak, himself. So the frequency of negative energy, of evil energy, eyes, nazar, hasad, everything is there. Tak, on himself. Because this is a big thing in this part of the world. We have a lot of this.
What if it's on your right? So you walk in.
No. Then it doesn't have the same impact.
So I've got one thing right in my house. One
The
thing
mirror
is
is
correct.
facing
It's on the right.
Yes.
reflecting the positive energy and the chi coming in.
If you're bringing in the chi, but there are two ways to look at it. When people walk in, it's also a way of just taking that energy. So that's why mirrors crack. That's why we keep. I always say, change your mirrors. If you change your mirrors, you change your energy.
And no mirror opposite a window because then that's reflecting whatever's outside.
Also, yeah.
So a mirror at the bottom of the bed is not good.
Mirror, sorry.
At the bottom of your bed.
Bottom of your bed?
So just on the ground, like a large mirror? No.
No.
No,
On the other side, so there's your wall,
Yeah,
you have your bed, then you have your rug.
yeah.
Large mirror, no.
Oh. So you can have mirrors, floor-standing mirrors, that's not a problem, but as long as they're not opposite the bed. Along the bedside, no issues. In the corridor, no issues. So sometimes bedrooms have little corridor and then the bedroom. So if you are putting it in that corridor space, no issues.
I have to go.
What if I can't move my mirror dresser? So how do I cover that mirror?
Oh, then, which if you can't move it, you just use fabric or something to cover it. Yeah.
Can we have a water feature on the west corner of the house?
Ideally, no. Why would you want to put it there?
No, it's already there, so I was thinking whether we should remove it or we should keep
Okay,
it.
so for the year 2020, West is a very good area. You can keep it there for this year.
For this year.
For this year. But this is a fluke, huh? This is just because it's a good energy in the West. Normally, no. Normally, West is not a space. And also, no plants in the bedroom and no water features in the bedroom. Because that's something that is just not conducive. So the year 2020, the three areas which are the best are the West, Northwest, and Northeast. So these are the three areas you can enhance your energy. You can bring in, this is prosperity energy, which are in these three segments. So you can enhance these three segments. The worst energy this year is in the East. So I wouldn't advise anybody to enhance their East energy this year, and the South. So East and South are two not conducive segments this year. So people who have doors in the South or doors facing the East, they need to be careful. For East, this is across the board, everyone who's got, each one of us should hang a 6-rod metal chime in the East this year. Do it, you will never regret it. It's the worst energy that has hit, and it's going to be health issues, and then mental issues, emotional issues, stress factors. So East, wherever is the East of your house, could be a bedroom, bathroom, anything. Just put a 6-rod hollow metal wind chime.
Outside or inside?
You know those chimes that you get? Those ding-a-ling-ling? We call them Fung in Chinese, but those
So in the east?
in the East. Every one of you should do that.
Should it be outside or inside?
Anywhere. Anywhere is good, as long as it's in the East.
What does it mean door is on the east?
Just put it on the side of the door. But Pakka, you to must put it then. Because if it's the main door, means the energy, the whole energy is reflected. So just do that. It's very, very important.
What are your predictions for Dubai 2020 and
Oh. Big topic, very interesting topic. I just wrote an article in Gulf News. I don't know if you read or not, Astro Talk on, you can get it online as well. But I have talked about 2020 and the UAE energy. Give me a minute. We're looking good. We're looking good. We're looking good in the sense that food and property is going up. So real estate and food industry is doing well. Yeah. What is not doing well is shipping and trade, electronics is not doing very well. But the real estate business is doing well, food business is doing extremely well. So that's going on. Shopping, no. Fashion, no. No, that's not happening. Tell me.
I wanted to ask you to back not to the UAE, something else first. But if two elements are in the same mold, like a relation, like a couple,
Yeah?
like if both of you are water, both of you are fire, is
Yes.
that a bad thing? Because
No.
generally people say it's a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's compatibility.
When
It's
two are the same,
yeah, it's
and
just
if it's a strong element,
so then you see what happens is you just have to find which one is the stronger one. So whoever's the stronger one, the other one will start leaning on that energy. But it's not a bad thing at
how
all.
would you know what is
Through your date of birth chart. Yeah, for which you need to come to see me at my office if you want a date of birth analysis. But yeah, that's the only way to do it. That's the only way. Sorry, I would like to answer.
Yeah, so I am shifting, say, another in 3-4 months.
Hmm?
But my door opens to our east side.
Oh.
So
So
and
yes.
opposite is the sun coming
Ah,
inside the
so-
rays. So I have to put the 6 rod.
Yes, definitely. For this year. Because
Just
it's
for this year?
Just for this year. Only for this year. Not for every year. The flying stars change every year.
So then I remove it after the whole year?
After the whole year, yes. Next year, you will have it.
Okay.
Like when I say next year, it's February of next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. No problem. Okay. So it's not bad, but if you if you're not facing it, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Yeah, there's nothing negative about it. And if you want to make it even more positive, you put it right in front of your entrance, if there is space. If not, it's okay.
So mirror in front of the entrance is.
It's good. Yeah, technically.
Can we have a bar on the east corner of the
Oh,
house?
this is, there are no hard and fast rules. It depends upon the house or the flag stars of the house. But there is no hard and fast rule that you can't have a bar there. You can if you want to.
We can just use a regular compass.
Regular compass, you can use iPhone.
Yeah,
Just
right,
use the
okay.
iPhone if you don't have anything else. Yes? So, yeah. Now, what we do is when you are looking at any direction, first you always look at the whole house, and then if you want to enhance something, for example, if you're talking about career, you're talking about health, you're talking about health, career, and fame. These are the three things that you would do only in the living and dining area. So then you stand in the middle of the living area and look at the north of the living area, and then get the other segments of that room, and you enhance that segment. You don't then do it for the whole house. You get what I'm
I
saying?
feel that everything is clear in the living area and the dining area. So how can I enhance it?
Enhance it. So for enhancement, let's be very fair and honest. Traditional Chinese feng shui believes in traditional Chinese things. But I have a very interesting way of working. I don't put things out there for people to see. I do things hidden. So if I want to energize an area, for example, I want to energize, let's say I want to energize this space, yeah? I'll put it behind books. I'll hide it. I won't show it. Now what really happens is I'm energizing the space. I'm not trying to show off. I'm not trying to tell people what I'm doing. I'm doing what I want to do because I want to do it. And I don't want anybody questioning me for whatever I'm doing. So I'm just going to put it right behind it and it'll still do the job. So if you want to energize your relationship area, for example, you can do it in your bedroom by placing a pair of mandarin ducks. You can place a salt lamp. You know what a Himalayan salt lamp is? You can place that. And you can put an amethyst. Have you ever seen an amethyst, Gio? So put an amethyst next to your mandarin ducks. Why do we put an amethyst? Because amethyst, the power of the amethyst is such that it has a healing power and a cleansing energy. So automatically it keeps cleansing your relationship energy and enhances it. And the salt lamp also has the same power. So you can use that.
Which direction?
Just put it on your bedside table, don't worry about it. Because when you put it in the bedroom, it's already defined that this is about relationship. Because it's like this, dining room is for food, bedroom is for sleeping. If it's a master bedroom, it's the couple. You know, it's like already defined energy, so you don't have to really further define it. Some people do. If I was doing a feng shui for somebody, yeah, maybe I would look at the southwest of the bedroom as well. But you know, you may not find it because 90% of the time there'll be a wardrobe or a door or something else. So bedside tables are the safest bet, and I always use them. So that's if you were doing the bedroom. But let's say if you were doing fame, which is some people like to be famous, and so what do you do then? In the traditional Chinese way, what we do is we use a phoenix, a red phoenix. Phoenix is a celestial bird, it's not a physical bird. So phoenix, put it in the south of your living room or your dining room. Place, have you seen those galloping horses? So have 3 galloping horses and maybe a red candle. This will energize that space, and it's enough to do that. If you want to do what else? Career, let's say somebody wants to do career in business, then the direction is north. Then what I would suggest again is very simple things that I always do is use a salt lamp again. I put it in the north and I keep that on 24/7. So that north lamp is on 24/7. The Chinese are very interesting people. They're very simple, they're very straightforward, and very honest. So, just funny. They say if the money is good, everything is good. Because if you don't have the money, and if you have ill health, it's very difficult so if you don't have the money and you have ill health, you won't know how to take care of that ill health. If you don't have money and you have to send your children to school, then you don't know how to do that. So all you have to keep worrying about is money. So when we were trained, when I was trained all along, my first thing about if a house is good or not, if an office is good or not, is to check the money. If the money is good, everything is good. Why? Because then the biggest issue is taken care of. Because then I can pay for the doctor, I can pay for the education, I can pay for travel, I can do whatever I need to do. But if I don't have the money, then that's all I'm going to be doing, is looking after the money. So coming back to the north, which is the segment of the career, when you energize that, the first thing you need to do is declutter that space and cleanse it. So there are 2-3 things which we use in the cleansing process is sage. We use sage, and we use Palo Santo, which is little wood. You can burn it, and it's like a bukur. But bukur is not a cleanser, it's an energizer, which means it induces an energy rather than removes an energy. But Palo Santo is a cleanser. So you can use these 2 things to clean up the energy. And then I keep the salt lamp 24/7. I place something which is called a Kuan Yin of prosperity, which is an energy, which is a very Chinese thing, but it's a beautiful statue of Kuan Yin, and it has a specific energy which is of prosperity. So you place these 2 things, and your money sector, which is your career sector, will be energized. If you are in a job or you feel that you are lacking support, you can add something called tortoise. Have you seen these tortoises. You can put them on the floor, and that's it. Just put them on the floor. They can be hidden. They don't need to be seen, but has to be on the floor. Please don't put a tortoise on a table, because that's not where the tortoise lives. It lives on the ground. In the north, yes, in the north, yeah. Come again, sorry. No, for well, not health. Salt lamp, Kuan Yin, tortoise, you can put in the north. And that lamp, don't ever switch it off. Kuan Yin is a figurine. It's actually the female energy. It's the yin energy of yourself. It's the power within you. The power within you. So you're bringing out that power within you, and the reason why you keep that lamp on 24/7 is because you never want your finances to stop generating money. So you keep that going all the time. It's just like a subconscious reminder to the brain, and it's also a cleanser. So it ionizes the space and keeps that segment clear of energy. Somebody was asking a question in that. Yeah, tell me.
What about if you have in the house a corner that is dark, no windows, the light doesn't reach it?
Yes.
How do you enhance it? How do you
Always use a lamp 24/7. So I have such a space in my house. I have a very difficult house myself. It's a rented property, and I keep the lights on all the time. Lamps in segments where there is darkness. You have to keep it on. There's no way else.
And for wind chimes, sorry, go back. Can you put it outside or it should be inside?
So when you're doing feng shui for the house, I usually put it inside. But then feng shui is done in and out. So you will use two. You will put it in and you will put it out. So if it's a villa, yes, then you will put it east in and east out. Yes. But if it's an apartment, then definitely in. Yes.
Like for tortoise also, inside and out?
No. Then everything else is in. Everything else is in, nothing out.
How do you work out the direction of your garden? Is it in correlation with the house, or is it a separate entity altogether?
So same. You stand wherever you're standing and just check the north. The norths of every space will be aligned. So the north of the garden is the north of the house, and the north of the road, everything will be aligned. Anywhere you can stand, it will still be the same. Just stand in the middle of your garden, wherever is your middle of your garden. Look for one direction, and the rest of it will
But if
come.
the garden is, say, just on the east of your home,
कोई बात नहीं, but still, it might be in the east segment of your home, but it will still have a north, south, east, west. So you treat that as that.
so as an individual.
Yes.
entity.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
in your home, is each room different, or it's all split down the middle of the compass?
So initially, it's always from the middle of the house on the whole floor or on your whole apartment. And then if you are energizing the living room for your health or your fame or career, then you segment that living room. You don't segment it otherwise. Tell me.
How about the wall art then?
Wall art?
They are always like you said, to keep anything.
Yeah, wall art is fine. You can put it straight. Yeah, this one. Yeah, tell me.
Two questions. One
Yeah.
is like when you said in a bedroom, if there's a window behind you,
Yeah.
if you put a block that blocks the full window, the energy.
Yes. If there is a window behind you and you're sleeping with a bed against that wall, it's the most uncomfortable and inappropriate thing.
Like a chest of drawers between the window and the bed.
What will happen if you do something like that is you're not going to be very focused. Your energy and your life is not going to be focused. The direction will be lost. You will be a little lost in, whoever is sleeping on the bed will not find things going smooth, as if there is a half-hearted, everything is like sort of half-hearted, it's not happening. Yeah, either from within you it's not happening, or when you propose a thing it doesn't go through. So everything will be like a little wishy-washy, because the frequency there's a huge gap. This whole exhaust, you can say, because you know the window is an exhaust. It's an exhaust, and then you have a block, and then you have you. So where is the energy coming from? There's no space.
Yeah, you said like if you don't have a solid board behind your bed, and you have like
Rods, yeah.
So what would you do? Yeah, like in case you can't change.
Oh my God! If you have something like that, it's a task. Either you can use a ply and you line it up. That's one way of doing it. Or there's another way of doing it. Is you can get it upholstered. You take that whole thing, go to an upholstery store, usko bolo, just tell him just upholster this whole thing for me. Then it becomes a solid headboard.
So what if you have windows? So sorry, they're on top. I mean, I've never seen this anywhere else but in Dubai. A lot of homes I know have windows on top. They're like small windows, but it's on a wall. If your house has 4 walls,
Yeah, that's fine.
4 walls, and one is your room, and the other one closet space. You only want to use the one with the windows on top. Does that work?
So now this is, let's say, the bedroom wall, and the window is there, but the rest of it is wall. That's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine. There's nothing to worry. But if there is a whole window up till, let's say, this, then it stops. Then it's a suction wall. That is too far away. Your head. So energy travels on waist level here. This is where energy travels. It does not travel there, and it does not travel there. So when we are checking an energy of any space, I will check energy here. This level. Okay? So if this is fine, it's fine. So I won't start brooming the floor. I won't start brooming. I'm not saying it shouldn't be clean, but when we do an energy check, it's on this level. Why is it on this level? Anybody who can answer that? Because this is the center of the body. This is the center of the body. So it's here. Let me take. So this is the center of the body. If the center is, don't they say that if your digestive system is fine, everything is fine? What do the doctors wait for? Declaring you well and taking you out of ICU is to see that your bowel movement is fine, and then you're fine. Then you can be moved out. You're out of danger. But till the bowel movement doesn't happen, they keep you under observation, because that is the center of everything, your entire digestive system. So that is the earth energy. That's what we call the earth energy. So earth is the center of the energy cycle of everything. Yes, any other question? Yeah, sure. Oh,
So what was the fame direction?
just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
You say for a feminism for a couple, you have to have a set, so for example, the birds. What about the single person? Is there any general rule?
For what? I mean, you want to create a relationship, or?
No, just like.
So this is for a relationship. What for a single person? What aspect of your life would you like to enhance?
Just like happiness, just
Happiness.
joy. Yeah.
Joy. It's a very big word and a very big. So you have to find.
I mean, not career, just like a
Okay.
general.
So I think then you need a little bit of introspection first, which means you have to ask yourself, what and how would you be happy, and what would make you joyful?
Yeah,
Now,
for
each-
example, family and relationship.
Yes.
But you don't have it.
If you don't have it and you want it, so that's it. That's fine. That means you have to energize your family and relationship area. That's it. So this is a very interesting concept of question. I want happiness and I want joy. But joy and happiness can mean different for different people. At one point in time, the only thing that gave me happiness and joy was only to do big work and big things and all of that. Nothing else. Nothing else. And then that shifted. When I finished that and I'd done it all, then that shifted and I didn't want to do that anymore. Every time I opened a new store, I was like, oh wow, this. But now, oh, come on, it's okay. That what is joyous now is something totally different. Is when I meet my family or my children or my husband or whatever. It's fun. So joy is something you first find out and then you energize that. So for relationships, this is what it is. Romantic relationships, Mandarin dogs. Any other relationships, pairs. Pairs. So whatever you want to energize, which aspect of that relationship, whether it's a friendship, or it's a romantic relationship, it's a parental relationship, if it's a parental relationship, and you say you're not having a really good relationship with your father or mother or brother or sister, try to bring those photographs into your space, and not photographs of current time, the times when it was good. When you were babies, when you were kids, when you didn't have issues. Bring those pictures into your space and then use them. So where would you put them? This is a very interesting thing. It's subtle, but your question is interesting. Where would you put those photographs? What is not happening right? You said a relationship not going fine. You will use the health direction because now you want to make this a healthy relationship. So you will use the health direction, which is east, and put the pictures in the east to enhance that energy. And in any case, photographs are always placed in the east. Photographs of people who have departed from this universe are placed on the northwestern wall. So if you ever want to know where should I place the pictures of the people who've gone, and some people have lost their parents or grandparents or whatever, northwest is the one. Tell me.
Right, so please, when you see like you have showed from the center of the house, east wall, wherever it is.
So you usually always try to use the common areas for photographs, never your bedrooms. So you will look at the common area ka east, which means a passage or an entrance or the stairs, and then you just find the east-west wall and then you just do that.
Why not the bedroom? Southeast entrance for this year? Is it also?
For this year, the southeast, so the southeast, put bamboos. 9 bamboo stems in a glass vase with water is what you do in the southeast segment this year. Otherwise, people who have doors in the southeast segment might have legal issues. Let's just put this, it'll be fine. Yeah, 9 bamboos.
In front of near the door?
Near the door.
Can you,
Go ahead.
Can you mix pictures of people who passed away with current pictures or not?
No, so you see what happens is sometimes people use single photographs of parents, grandparents, or whoever has passed away and keep them there. Now when you do that, then you don't use your living beings which is there. But if it is a photograph of a family or it's a group photograph, then it's fine.
How about if, like, I have a wall, it has all photos,
Mhm.
like it's all yeah, it's like a collage, it's like a
That's fine,
a
that's
wall,
fine.
but it has people who passed away.
That's
with
okay, yeah, no issues.
Other pictures.
Yeah, then you don't put them in the northwest, yeah, you put them in the east. Yeah, because they're living people and people who have moved on. So that's different. Sorry, yeah, I need to answer that because you've been waiting. Tell me.
I have 2 questions. One, you live in an apartment that's facing water and it's like floor-to-ceiling windows.
Wow.
And the whole side, like, it's like a rectangle,
Wow.
but all of it's
I know
facing
exactly what
water.
you're talking about. So yes, there are lots of such new homes in UAE now because of the new constructions. What happens is, 2 things is happening. One, that glass is not plain glass, point 1. Point 2, the glass from the outside is a reflective glass. Most buildings are being built with reflective glass. So you have to see these two things. So if it's a tinted glass, you already have a protection. If it's a glass that has a reflection, then it already has a protection. So the energy is really not coming in, you're just getting a view of it. So it's brought down about 60% already if it's reflected glass and tinted glass, which are both most likely the situation in most of the buildings in the UAE currently, because this is a new concept of having floor-to-ceiling glass and the view is beautiful, especially Business Bay and the beach side and all of these areas, Palm, all these areas are the Pearl, all have the same thing. So that's one. Number 2, and you don't obviously want to use curtains because you've got the view, so you don't want shears or whatever else. If you don't want shears, then use what normally I would do. If you have a door facing the window, then use 2 Swarovski crystal balls to hang so that the energy stays within the living space. But if you don't have a door facing the window, don't bother. Why? Because obviously, I'm sure if you've got water outside, you'll have colors which are not water and not gray, which is metal. Try to avoid that. I think you have them. But if you have them, use cushions, red, green, mustard. These are the colors you use, so to sort of hold the energy there, because that's the only thing that will hold the water frequency. It's too high. And what else can you do? Place plants. That's one other way of doing it. Crystals is a very good way of doing it. Amethyst, citron. Amethyst, citron. Maybe you could use some labradorite, or labradorite is a very powerful energy that will hold that energy also. Then clear quartz. You could use some clear quartz, that will help. But when I say some, I don't mean this. I mean this. Okay? Anything when you get this. Because a floor to ceiling window, even if it's 3 meters or 4 meters wide room, it's a lot of energy.
So when you say like plants, because it's surrounded by balcony, if I put plants in the balcony,
That's also fine, but you can always put plants inside as well. A few plants, not too many, just a few. And don't line them, cluster them, then it's fine. 1, 2, 3, fair enough. 1, 2, 3, fair enough. But not like, oh, I've got to line this up. No, not that.
And the second question was, are there any elements or things that you suggest for a nursery to kind of have a
For a baby? Okay. Normally children, so see, this is how we work with kids. Since kids are energies that are too pure, they're too light and too divine. We don't generally like to interfere with these energies unless, again, as I said, if it ain't broken, don't mend it. Unless there is a problem, unless the baby's not sleeping, or unless there is colic, or unless there's like something happening. If nothing is happening, then just keep the place clutter free, plastic free, which is most people don't do that. Plastic. You know, they have these rubber mats, and those are awful energies. Don't have rubber mats for your kids. If you want to have a rug, or have wooden floors or something, but don't have rubber mats. You know what those rubber mats I'm talking about? The ones, those spongy mats? Sick energy. 100% the children will fall ill, because there's no frequency going through. Whereas wood is great. Any other tile is fine as well. Use a rug, that's fine. You know, these kind of cotton rugs or whatever. If the baby doesn't sleep, then maybe I'd use a crystal, but nothing else. No plants, no water, no fire.
What is the reason for no plants there? What about artificial plants?
No. So, no artificial plants anywhere in the house. No artificial plants anywhere in the house, and no fake candles. Okay? No artificial plants. For the baby's nursery. In the bedroom as well. So, okay, let me give you a reason as to why no plants in the bedroom, okay? Because plants have living energy, all right? They are breathing, they are growing, and they are yang in nature. You know, Feng Shui, yin and yang, the black and the white symbol. So because plants are yang energy and bedrooms are yin energy means an energy where you need to be peaceful, relaxed, and sleeping. You don't want anything which has got active frequency. So when you have no flowers in the bedroom, no active energies in the bedroom. Bedroom? Why would you put them in the bedroom?
Why not? Some plants give
Yeah, but not.
some plants give oxygen.
Yeah, but I'm sure your house is well oxygenated, yeah? If you have an oxygen issue, you should get oxygen, not a plant. Plant in the rest of the house, in all the other areas, but not in bedrooms.
Sorry, what was the fame direction?
South.
Because it takes away the energy from you.
It doesn't let you sleep, so it'll exhaust you. It'll exhaust you. It won't let you sleep. Even if your body is tired, your mind is going to be working. And if it's going to be working, what's the use of being in the bedroom? You know, might as well get up and just do what you have to do. So no plants in the bedroom. Yeah. Anything else? Best thing for health, bamboo stems. So the green bamboo stems, the tall ones, if you put them in water, never plant them in soil. Always in water. And why not in soil? Can anybody answer that one? Because, you know, wood captures earth. So when the minute you put a bamboo into earth, it loses its power. It's gone into the earth. So it loses its power. So it won't do anything for you. So that's why never into earth, always in water, because the water will support the growth of the bamboo and growth of your health. And the health direction is east. So the east of the living or the dining. I always use the dining. I prefer the dining because health has got everything to do with food. And food has got everything to do with our bodies and our health. And health is mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. So all these health.
How many bamboo sticks? No. How many?
How many? I usually use 9. That's a very good number. You can use 9. Tell me.
Why not to work a kitchen with an angled wall?
Angled walls, as I said, is not good. Yeah, they're not good.
I have dining area and then we got the room done, so we have these
Beams? Yeah, I just talked about the beams. You have to get them covered. Yeah. Seal. Oh, those wooden beams? That's cool. Wooden doesn't have a problem. It's the concrete beam that has a problem. Wood is a breathing element. It's a living element. It's not a problem. What about you?
Sorry, why did you say the pictures of deceased people in the north?
Wow. Diseased people in the northwest.
Yeah,
Northwest. Because the northwest area is the mentor's luck, which is the luck from heaven. So people who've already passed have already moved on. So we will take them as our ancestral luck pattern. You know, we'll consider them as good for us. So we put them on that wall. That's the wall for it. That's the energy area for it. Yeah, when you use it, let's say if you were to put it in your east, then there'll be east is for living beings, right? It's health, right? It's living beings. Then you're putting a picture of somebody who's already passed on, and you put them in the east, so what's going to do? It's going to drain that energy. So that's why you put it in a space where it's going to enhance the energy. And there's nothing wrong about it, but it's better if you do it there. And you get benefited if you do it there. So, are we good? Yes? Any other queries, questions? No? Great, thank you so much. It was lovely having this chat with you, and I think I would like to request you to just pick up our brochures if you don't mind. And there are some discount vouchers here for our salons and our shops and everything, so you can just pick them up, as many as you like, and you can use them.
Guys, additionally, I just want to welcome you all. I hope you enjoyed the session with Priya. I'm sure you probably have a lot more questions here. We're offering you a 20% discount on full price items. So if you're interested, there are vouchers here that you can redeem at the counter. Otherwise, you can just give them the code CNDMOE20.
I was joking. Going to the basement. Really good. Yeah. I would edit that. Lillian. She's not an additional T-O. But the only thing is, if you go very deep into that, you find it. So don't go deep into our basics. Yes, promotions are here, card is here, very welcome, we have stores across the garden. So anytime, visit us, and explore. Yeah,
Oh, I want to get one of her crystal cards. Can you?
The bed is like that. On your right. I've seen this one because I know I can see the energy. It's okay.
But there are so many things that I don't know.
I kept looking at you. I said, I know you, and I don't know you, but I know you now.
No, I know you too. So thank you so much for this morning. Thank you. We'll keep in touch.
Like I have three boys in different phases of their life, and they're I think I'm shy in different ways, and they're not always do they think that you love them.
Because I never
Like sometimes the energy is just very intense and comes with a sense, especially when they get to ages when they're leaving home and one period and this is the one that I okay. And when you live in the country and they're going with